Hey guys, Alexander and Sean.
How's it going, everybody?
Coming live from Unique Photo. And today, as you probably are aware, we're going to talk about mobile payments. And Sean wanted to talk about mobile payments primarily because it's a really hot subject, especially coming from this Mason-Dixon Android Apple line. We kind of wanted to give you a real view on how mobile payments work and how they're supposed to work.
Yeah, because they're definitely kind of similar between the two of them, Apple and Google, the way that they're working this stuff. But there are definitely some advantages, I'd say, after you and I were just, checking that thing out before, that make Apple, I think, a little bit more polished, a little more refined as far as the system goes, easier customer end. Yeah, would be a better way to put it.
And we've lightly touched on mobile payments before, but we're trying to roll out the new format of UTechTalk. We've gotten a lot of great feedback. And we're gonna keep, we're gonna persevere with the UTechTalk. Yeah. And we want to focus today specifically on how mobile payments work, how they're developed, where they're going, some of the other competitors who have fallen through, and I also want to touch on the merchant side. So how small businesses can accept mobile payments, and sort of how both of the services will help the businesses.
Yeah.
So let's do like a brief summary of mobile payments, because this is a space that's actually been around for a long time. And I remember when I got my first credit card, it was American Express Blue Card or something. Mm-hmm. There's a little chip in it, and that chip works with the same underlying technology that Google Wallet worked on for the last couple of years, and now Apple Pay works on. And that's why a lot of people say, I don't know where I can use Apple Pay, but you really can use it anywhere where there's that little box or a payment of NFC. I use it in cabs, actually. I've only used it 3 times. I've used it in cab all 3 times.
Yeah, and most of the time, I mean, for the last, let's say, about a year, I've been using it with my various Google devices in different capabilities, or not different capabilities, is a wrong word to use, in different
capacities.
Capacities, yes, that's the word. So there's a lot of retailers I know locally to our store that are starting to implement it on a wider scale.
Okay.
There's a few supermarkets around me that now all of a sudden have just, you're looking and you see the little pin pad device up, or brand new. And
those are expensive.
Oh yeah, I mean, definitely.
A lot of systems are set up to handle tokenization, and we're gonna touch on that in a second. We do that, but we don't accept necessarily. We only will swipe the credit card in our store. We also have, in our T-Mobile section, we have a new pin pad device. Yes. That is actually an older device, but since it has the NFC technology, which is that Apple and Google piggyback off of, we accept Apple Pay at that area. And we're gonna actually show you a video of that in a second. So let's roll back.
Just send me the link to that video.
Yeah, not a problem.
We'll send you the link. And we're gonna tell you how mobile payments work. So the concept of any payment system, the hinge is obviously a number. So let's start with credit cards. A credit card works where you set up an account with American Express, with Visa, MasterCard, your bank, and they give you a credit limit and they say, here's your credit card number. So that's just a number that they can look up in their system and say, you have this much money. So you swipe your card at XYZ merchant. They used to use a dial-up phone, and now they use an internet call that's encrypted and secure. They reach out to their processor. So for simplicity's sake, they reach out to the credit card provider, and they say, credit card number 566, whatever, is charging $100. And they receive back a message that says approved, and some other pieces of information that we don't need to go into. And they reserve that money in your card, and then after the payment is processed, you get your money. So there's 2 types of payments. There's an authorization, and then there's an authorization and capture, which is essentially a sale. So that's why sometimes they say we're going to put a hold on your credit card, but you don't see it on your statement. That's an authorization. That reduces your limit, and that's essentially as the merchant is as good as having the money. Then when the merchant completes a sale, that transaction is captured, and they say, okay, you were charged the full amount of your room because you wrecked it, or it's half off, or something like that, and they then charge you the balance. So that's how it works with a credit card number. Now, that was the way it used to work right from the beginning, and they said, hey, that credit card number can be used at any merchant, and that's not necessarily secure. So a lot of people and merchants and the web is in developing this, and again, we're giving a very layman version of this. They went to a token system. So you put your credit card in on someone's website, or you put it in a store, and instead of storing your credit card number, they store an abbreviated number. And that number is essentially just a reference to the processor for your credit card information. So instead of every time there's a transaction passing up and back credit card information, they're passing along this token, which is meaningless to anyone else in any other circumstance, but for a particular merchant and the processor, that has value. And that is very similar to how the mobile payments work.
Yeah.
So circa 2009, 2008.
I think it was 2009 was, I think.
Google Wallet?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
So Google Wallet came along, and with they do for a similar. They do it for a similar method. So you put your credit card information in Google Wallet. Google Wallet reaches out and goes, okay, we're going to store this encrypted form of your credit card information. Here is a number that could be saved on your phone that will work with NFC. I think it's 16 digits is the security for the number for NFC payments. And when you go to the merchant with this Android, you go to your merchant, you put your phone near it, you put in your PIN code on an Android phone, and then the phone transmits that 16-digit token to the PIN pad device, which then, upon the store's go ahead when their point of sale system goes in and authenticates that same way a credit card would with the vendor, so the provider.
Yeah, and what's good with Google's wallet right now, and from my understanding, the way it works is so we know, like recently with Home Depot and Target getting all of the card numbers taken and that whole kind of scare. The way Google Wallet works, and I know this is different than how Apple works, because Apple works directly with the card companies.
No, well,
for that part.
It's actually extremely similar. So give me your point. No, well, I'll give you the Apple point.
Yeah. So when you use Google Wallet to make a transaction, it will actually charge from your card to another card that my understanding is that Google holds.
Okay.
Then Google will then send that card number to the merchant.
That's a token.
So and it's all done through MasterCard only. Is one of the things I found out with Google Wallet. It's only MasterCard.
Okay.
So like if you have a Visa, it'll charge your Visa to the MasterCard, and then MasterCard is the final payment to them.
They're using them as their gateway, but it's essentially the same thing. But it's the transformation of information is using a token, which only makes sense to Google and MasterCard, and it can't be used at other locations, and that's the security.
Yeah, and it's basically accepted. I think anywhere that you see that the little kind of sideways Wi-Fi symbol with a hand. Right. That's the kind of universal symbol, I think, for NFC payment.
And at any one of those locations, they can also take Apple Pay. So that NFC block, so Apple Pay works almost the same way, and Apple Pay though essentially goes out to the credit card company to get that token. So they issue a token to your phone, and the reason they use a token is because it doesn't mean anything to anyone else. So if you get that token, you can't enter it on a website, you can't go to another device and use it, and that provides a lot of security. So when someone stores your credit card number on their website, that's a super large provider. They might do their own processing. So they might actually at some point in their systems have your credit card number. The way we do it is when you buy on our website and you enter your credit card number, it's immediately converted to a token, and that payment form is stored with a processor. So we don't even have any credit card numbers or anything like that. That provides the ultimate security. Yeah. So the reason that the mobile payments are so secure is because if you lose your credit card, someone just takes that piece of plastic and goes and swipes it somewhere, and that's it. They also can get your information by reading the card and put it on a website and then purchase stuff. We won't even go into the whole address verification service, which provides extra security since they need to know your billing address. And if you remember our last Tech Talk, we kind of discussed that two-factor authentication. This is a similar method.
Yep.
So do we have the video? Do you want to tweet that? Or on the Tech Talk page, we're going to tweet the video of me actually using Apple Pay.
You want me to run it right now?
Yeah.
Hey guys, so we quickly ran down here to the T-Mobile store in Unique Photo, and this is our superstore, and I wanted to give you a quick demo of Apple Pay.
Like a slide by slide. It's not like a full motion video.
Okay, in that case, we'll upload it to
tweet the video, or give me the video and I'll tweet it, something like that. Do we have the Drive link shirt?
Put it over right.
Yeah, he has.
Send me an IM with that, and I'll just download a shirt.
I'll send it to you.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tweet out the link to the video of me using Apple Pay. Really simple. I'm sure everyone's seen it a million times, but the Google Wallet and Apple Pay work almost identically, and the only difference is you have to enter a PIN. I just hold my fingerprint up there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty laggy, Tim. So
Yeah.
let's go back. Are we back live?
Yeah, we're back on. We're good.
I guess that's what happens when the
No, it wasn't
the phone
processed, that's
records
why.
are real high. Oh, on Drive? Yeah, okay. So with Apple Pay, what would you say is probably the best kind of application for it so far? Like
I've used it. My favorite is when I used it in a cab. So I have my phone in my hand all the time when I'm in a cab. So instead of me having to take my wallet out, I can't tweet a video? We suck. We're the worst.
tweet might be a little too big then. Well, what we
Is
can
it share
do
with
then is
everyone?
it's on my Drive account. What I can do is we can just upload it to YouTube afterwards, and then we'll annotate it in the bottom as a walkthrough.
Okay.
With a link right in the video to just click on it. Once we're basically gonna be talking about this for a little bit. You'll be able to click right on the screen.
Sure. You want to just share this with everyone?
Yeah.
Just change it to share with everyone. All right. So I posted a link to the video. So I think the best application is the fact that on the iPhone, the NFC chip is always on. It takes very little effort, and you hold your phone by the payment method, and it automatically comes on the screen. So I think the best application is the speed, and I like the security. Now, we're talking about right now live payments, and another form of Google Wallet and Apple Pay is online purchasing, and that is another secure way where you don't have to take your credit card number, enter your information. And when somebody accepts Apple Pay or Google Wallet, might actually enter your credit card information, I think. It pre-fills all of your information, and it's just a convenience tool. I think that those values are a lot less because you have autocomplete in your web browser. So in a lot of cases, you already have the information stored. It's just a time saver.
Yeah.
I do think that mobile payments offer a lot more security. A lot more convenience since my single device now has all of my credit cards saved on it.
Yeah.
And I think that it's definitely the future. Now, there are some other payment forms that have been around and up and coming on the end user side.
Yes.
And PayPal has a service called Pay Here, which is very cool. And what's the other one that's similar to that, where you walk in the store and they know you? Square has a similar one, and there's one more provider that I can't think off the top of my head. Now, these work on essentially like a geofence or a radius. So you walk in the store and they detect you by Bluetooth, and your PayPal Pay Here app, if the store supports it, will automatically see that you're in the store and you can authorize the payment. And that was really, really cool because you don't actually utilize the NFC technology, so you just use a proximity. So the Bluetooth coupled with the Wi-Fi in the store is a really cool feature of Pay Here.
Yeah.
And there are some other partners. I know Starbucks was working with Square.
Yeah.
So you can have this stuff stored in your phone, and the app will know you're in there. And these are really lower value purchases. I know with Apple Pay you can buy whatever you want. Google Wallet, you can buy whatever you want. It's your credit card's limit.
Yeah, well, with Google Wallet, that is one thing that is that a lot of people forget about.
Okay.
Until you verify your account, basically by saying that this is my bank account, so that they can verify that you are an actual legit person, I guess. Right. You have a $1,000 spending limit in a day on one device. You have $10,000 across multiple devices. Once you verify, then it goes to your...
Because Google Wallet has your payment information. You're not talking about up close. You're talking about everything.
Across the board.
Oh.
But once you verify it, which takes 30 seconds to verify, then it completely unlocks. You can spend as much as you want in a day, up to whatever your credit card limits you to. Which is basically, I think, how with Apple's, the way they built the security into it is how they kind of went past that. Because your fingerprint and your device is your verification that that is you with it.
What's that link you put up? Download Apple Pay today.
It's the same one. Oh, that's the link to Apple Pay.
Oh, okay, yeah.
You don't download it.
Yeah, to their website.
Yeah,
You don't download it, though. There's no downloading of it.
So, looking at some of the other payment methods like that PayPal had and things like that, I mean, do you really think that they're going to kind of stand up really anymore now that NFC is becoming...
I think that the theory behind having all these different devices is a crowded space. And I'm obviously an Apple fan, and I'm not saying I'm not a Google fan. They're a tremendous company, and I love their stuff. But I think that the seamlessness of it makes it more appealing to a let's say a novice user.
Yeah, definitely.
And even to me, so you're like, hey Alex, I know you like to take your phone apart. You like to all the tech specs. Why don't you want to do these things? And I utilize my phone for a lot of different features, a lot of aspects. But one thing I like to do is have things just work and work seamlessly. And I think that that's the advantage of Apple Pay. So you set up your credit cards and you can do it once and it works. Yeah. Google Wallet, same thing. You set everything up, you put in your PIN and it works. So these other spaces you're gonna have to not have that widespread adoption. So that's why credit cards are great. Yeah. Every single person you hand them your credit card, they get scanned your credit card. And that's taken a while. And we didn't touch on chip and PIN, but chip and PIN is essentially, let's just use the chip for a second.
Yeah.
Overseas, so we're in America, obviously overseas, somewhere, any other country, they utilize the chip, a microchip in the phone, in the credit card to read your credit card number, which is encrypted also. So instead of swiping your card, they use the chip. Now it doesn't wear out, it's more secure. There's also chip and PIN, so you have a PIN number. That's again, going to that two-factor authentication. So not only authenticating you with your credit card via chip, which cannot be read by your average magnetic reader, etc., which might have a token on. I'm not sure, but I believe they use token for that. Again, which is not your credit card number, can't be used again. And then you put your PIN number in. Yeah. So that's obviously a lot more secure. So someone who gets your credit card can't just go run up a bill at TJ Maxx. They need to, or Unique Photo, they need to have your PIN number.
Yeah.
Now, I think that if I go into a store, that widespread adoption is great. I know I can pay with my credit card. Okay, someone doesn't expect Amex, but we're talking about very narrow circumstances. And now, with the internet, very few places you see not accept one credit card provider or another.
Yeah.
Just so all you guys know, you can laugh when someone says, hey, we're not accepting Amex to the big fee. We're talking about a marginally smaller fee. And in fact, I was looking at our credit card information. A majority of like the high-end Discover cards and even some of the Visa cards that have maybe company ones take a higher percent than Amex. So a lot of those vendors out there they're just tricking themselves.
Yeah.
But I was saying that widespread adoption, that ease of use is a key factor in paying. Mm-hmm. Let's talk about cash. Everyone accepts cash. You hand them cash, you get. That's why it's such a great medium of trade.
Exactly.
So we have these cell phones and we have these credit cards. You show up your credit card, you know it's going to get accepted. You go in the store, you see there's a box for NFC. You know you can pay with Google Wallet. I know I can pay with Apple Pay. I'm happy. So now we're saying, hey, does this store accept PayPal here? Then I need to go log into it because you don't keep that logged in because not all these stores accept it.
Exactly.
You're not ready to roll with it. It's a hassle for you at that point. Yeah. So I think that the answer to your question is they're going to exist in some form, but it's going to be very, very small. Now, let's jump over to the merchant side for a second. A merchant calls up and they get one of those not old-fashioned, but you ever see that box with all the numbers on it? You swipe the credit card, you put them out. Any store can get that. Works on radio, actually. Works on cellular radio. So any store can get that. They don't need internet connection. The money goes to their bank account in a couple of days, especially if they have low fraud, and it works. So now you're like, let me implement, let's say, the NFC payments. You get the device that accepts NFC payments, and you scan, and you're good, as a small mom-and-pop store. So I just covered all the fast mobile payments that we talked about in space, let's say 1 and 2, which is credit cards and NFC. Then we get on to these next tier. So now I'm going to have to contact PayPal and get a device for that. I'm talking about most of the stores, because the large chains have a methodology to implement this.
Yeah.
So a small store then has to go to PayPal. And they're like, let me get this device. And if that's their only device, that might be good. Because they use, we're kind of segueing to the merchant side, so just kind of stick with us. So they buy a PayPal Pay Here device, which is a little device for the phone or for the screen, and now they can accept, I believe it might accept Apple Pay and
I think it does
Google
now,
also, if it's NFC. Let's just say it does credit card. So it'll do credit card and also work with Pay Here. So those stores are going to get a lot less people coming in for the Pay Here. So they're going to use their device for swiping a card. This is obviously my opinion, but I could foresee that the stores are not going to go, I'm just going to look up the statistic to see the prevalence. But the stores are not going to be getting a lot of traction with this. Let's just use PayPal Pay Here.
Yeah.
And they're going to get a sign from them, we accept PayPal Pay Here, that sign's going to be up and it's going to wear out. And then they're like,
it kind of like, with now the fact that Apple is in NFC payments, that kind of makes a lot of the other companies have an even bigger hurdle to get over now. Because it was tough to get into mobile payments to begin with. And then Apple comes in and I think even Google is saying that they're up massive amounts of adoption.
Right,
For,
so the
for
Google's
Wallet
had it for
because
years.
now people are like, oh, Apple has this. I wonder if my phone has that.
Right.
And then they look and what do you know? It's there.
And you and I talked about that, and we were like,
yeah.
this is interesting. So the fact that Google Wallet's been around for a long time, it didn't have a lot of traction. Apple is able to get the press and sort of that ease of use behind it, and now all the Google users are like, wait a minute, I have this. So a lot of you out there don't actually know, but you already have the equivalent to Apple Pay if you're using any Samsung Galaxy device.
Yep. Samsung Galaxy, I think the last couple generations of the Nexus devices.
Right, so if your phone has NFC and you're running Android, you already have
Android
Google's-
4.0 and higher.
Right,
Which is almost every flagship or mainline device is running 4.0 and higher.
Right, so you're essentially already on a Google's equivalent, Apple Pay, which has been around for a long time.
Yep.
So, oh yeah, they say that the adoption went up 80% for Google since Apple Pay was launched.
Yeah. Which is amazing. I mean, it's it really speaks to, I think, Apple's power for influence. They can come out with a product that a lot of other people may have looked at as, okay, this is cool, but when am I ever going to use that? And now when you have the majority of cell phone users having something that, just like you said, just works because Apple took the time to polish it off and make it
their
very front-end user-friendly.
Google did a very similar thing, but they
did.
don't have the fingerprint technology,
Yeah.
so that hurt them a little bit.
And when they did it, they were still on the lower end of the market share in the U.S.
Really?
Yeah, when it first came out in 2009, I mean, I believe it was 2009, last I checked, it was, they didn't really have as strong of a position in the marketplace as everybody else because they didn't have the major banks on it. A lot of people were all like, oh, okay, this is cool, but where's it going to go? It's, I just want to use my card. And NFC readers weren't as big.
Right.
As everything built up and mobile payments started to kind of pick up, it just naturally grew out of that. And I think Apple hit it at the right time.
Yep. The market was demanding it.
Yeah.
And a lot of people said, oh, Apple doesn't have NFC, et cetera. But the uses of NFC are a lot less than maybe they were originally. And it's a very cool technology because of the very little battery use it uses.
Yeah.
So you have the battery use savings from using the NFC. Now people are using Bluetooth to do a lot of connectivity. And now Sean always talked about the low energy Bluetooth. So he has a watch and it connects using very little battery.
Yeah.
So the biggest, let's jump over to the merchant side.
Yeah.
So we're talking about that for a little bit. So a merchant can get outpay. A lot of merchants get the PayPal Pay here or the, handle it? The PayPal Pay here or a Square Reader. And those are just very small programs that are mobile based that you get to scan and get the credit card number.
Perfect for smaller businesses or people who need to be able to work in a remote location without, say, like an actual dedicated network connection or something.
Right, and the fees are very easy and it's easy to get it set up. So like PayPal Pay here, if you swipe a credit card, takes 2.7% and Square takes 2.75%. There's a small, very small fee per swipe, 15 cents.
Yeah.
So we pretty much covered a lot of the payment stuff that we want to talk about. We were trying to keep it a little bit more succinct today.
Yeah. I think the one thing, though, that I definitely did want to cover while we were talking about this is the biggest opposition to Apple Pay and NFC payments is the company Currency.
Okay, what's Currency?
Now, so
Currency is the company.
this is...
Give us a history, because I don't know what it is.
This is one of the most, I'd say, backwards payment methods, since we were talking about them, that companies like, I think it's CVS, Best Buy, those guys have all taken up with. And they're part of a group called MC, I think it's MCX.
Okay.
Is the name of their group.
Right.
They have, in the last couple of weeks, CVS actually turned off all of their NFC readers. Because they've been working with this program called Currency. The way it works is you go to a retailer.
Okay.
You buy your items.
Okay.
A QR code comes up on the terminal for the sales associate.
Before you finish, this is going right back to where you asked me if the other guys are going to...
Exactly.
I mean, do I want to be pulling out QR scanners?
Exactly. And this is the problem with it. They have basically made it where Apple Pay and Google Wallet or any NFC payment will no longer work in their stores.
So they disabled the NFC?
Yeah, they disabled it. Because they think that more people are going to take their phone, scan this QR code, input a code for them, turn it around,
You said it looks
have
like
them scan their QR code, and then confirm the
Here's
payment.
the reason why I read that they did. They want to be able to track the user purchases. So when you use your
And
credit
they also
card,
want to cut out the credit card fees because you can only link a bank account to this. You cannot link credit cards to it.
so they're saving.
So
the
it
swiping.
acts as a gift card.
That kind of makes sense.
Which, from a business standpoint, yeah, I understand that. That makes sense because over a year's worth of spending, a company like Best Buy could be paying a decent
big
chunk
amount, right.
in credit card
They probably
fees.
also have good credit card fees.
Oh,
rates,
yeah. But it doesn't actually. This is my problem with it. Is that okay? It's cool to think that way, but
they don't think. I just want to correct you. They don't think that people are going to do that easier.
no. But it's also it's not going to actually, I think, help
sales.
anyone
I
for
agree.
them, and I don't think it's really going to help them with the way they think that it's going to help them. Because
See, if
people
someone's
are
going to be
do
willing to
once.
do that, they're going to be willing to just get a Best Buy credit card.
Exactly. People with that will either look at it and say, okay, well, they'll probably do it once or twice. They'll try
I
it.
like, that's a funny. I just thought about it. Instead of doing this whole machinations, they simply could say, partner with Apple to make a Best Buy accept the Best Buy credit card.
It would be incredibly smart.
Right.
Instead, they're doing this, which basically, if you read Gizmodo's articles, Engadget's articles about this thing, they're like, it looks good on paper, but in real world situations, if you try this, you're more likely just going to take your card out and swipe the card because it works.
Well, you said to me, why did you use Apple Pay? Because I'm sitting in the cab like this, like this, like this. Then it's like get out of the cab. So instead of me going like this, get my wallet in my jacket, fumbling with my phone, which I'm going to then drop.
Yeah, it's
I'm
just
right. And that's where your phone's in your hand a lot.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's good or bad, but so back to why you said they're doing that. So what I read, I forgot the company name.
Mm-hmm.
What I read is that they really they spend a lot of money to track user data.
Yes.
So they want to know what you're buying, what zip code he's in, etc. And they could simply ask for your name, or they could know your name from Apple Pay, I believe.
Oh yeah.
So
because it
on
still
your
is
credit card.
transferring your name and information because
Right.
it needs
It's
a
just
verification
token.
amount.
Correct. So I think that's a poor move.
Oh yeah.
And I'm glad that you told me CVS didn't have that because I was going to pick up a prescription after I went on a run today and not bring my wallet.
Yeah, and about 20 minutes after like the first article broke that I read, Walgreens tweeted out and said, "We accept Apple Pay and Google Wallet," which was awesome to look at how a company can be like just really so quick with seeing what other competition's doing and being able to react on it in a very
And they had to get approval from someone or
non-negative way,
something.
but in a positive way to be like, look, our competition doesn't do this. We do.
Right.
Come on.
And again, it's that convenience. And I mean, one of the things we try even on our own website is to constantly try and work on friction. We want you to have a very seamless experience.
Yeah.
And we're constantly trying to improve that. We're experimenting with a couple things even on the rental side. So you could click get your rentals. And these are things that everyone needs to have simplicity. And the technology is getting there, and it's growing so fast that a majority of the people are going to be laggards, but there are a growing amount of early adopters because early adopter used to mean you're using an unpolished piece. But now when things are released, and we're talking about the scale that they're released, they have to be polished. And to me, we always try and partner with the strongest players. We want to partner with the strongest companies. We thank all of our partners. We appreciate it. And to think that a large company of the scale that we're talking about, CVS, Best Buy,
I think Target's
Walmart,
part of it, and Walmart's
right,
part
are
of it, I
not
believe.
partnering with the strongest players, Apple and Google, in the technology space.
It's mind-boggling.
Yeah.
There has to be something there that's keeping that from happening.
There might not be.
I just don't get it.
Yeah. So we took you through a lot of the stuff on mobile payments, and we want everyone to know how mobile payments work and that they're secure. And there's a lot of misinformation out there, but this is a clean, smooth area especially when it comes to Google or Apple. And these are companies you can trust, and we are going to be rolling it out in our store hopefully soon.
Yeah.
And again, we're keeping a little bit shorter session this time. We didn't send out notes that we had the session. So if you have any comments during the next week, 2 weeks before we do the next Tech Talk, which will be in
next week's Thanksgiving.
Right? We might do it on Friday. We'll see. Well, Black Friday.
Hey,
We'll
who
do
knows? Maybe might do one from down the store. Who knows?
Yeah. So let's send us your feedback. I'm at AX Suite. Sean's at
SMR Photo 87.
And we're at Unique Photo. We're in Fairfield, New Jersey. So if you have any topics that you'd like to discuss for next time, please send it in. And you can also use you can also go to uniquephoto.com/UTechTalk and see our page and we're happy to answer any questions you guys have.
Yeah.
Great, that's a wrap. Duke,